Hi guys, I'm back with another video. This one is for the collective. It's a new camera setup. It was a lot closer. It was like down maybe 2 feet lower. So I'm trying out this new camera setup. You let me know if it's any better or if it's much more worse. Or if there really isn't a difference. I'm starting off with the collective, and I know that I want to scrapbook this photo of myself and the mini Kit Monday gals during a video call. I hope none of the ladies mind. It is pretty grainy, but I really don't mind. I feel like scrapping this photograph. It was during one of those messenger video calls, probably to discuss something, or we were doing we were scrapping together. I can't recall. I was thinking of using this one right here that says just do fun, and I'm not sure if I'm going to cut out the white bits itself or mat it on a white piece of cardstock on a 4x6 paper and then use the frame. But I am going to start off using this frame from the Simple and Sweet collection. I'm probably going to cut off the excess back here that isn't being used, and I'm going to probably put it behind this side of the photograph as well to kind of frame it together. So I don't know what I'm actually going to start doing, but from here I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and see how this layout comes out. So here you can see that I am picking out things from this Pink Warehouse box. I did not bring in the Christmas things. That's the only thing that isn't really shown here because I knew that I wasn't going to scrapbook anything Christmas related. I did go through all of the embellishment packs, and there was quite a few. I think I must have pulled about 13 or 14 of them. I didn't use all of them, and that's okay. I like having the option of possibly putting every single thing on the layout. And so that's what happened. I did pull out this purple gradient watercolored mixed media looking paper, and that's what I end up using as my pattern, my base for the page. And then as I went through some more collections, I wanted certain pops of color, and I also decided to use this scrap of paper. It ended up working pretty well, I think, in my opinion. And I just go through all the papers to make sure that this is the only one that I want to use as my base page. And then I wanted to bring out certain colors, especially because I knew that I was going to cut one of the papers as a strip. I originally wanted to make a grid layout, but then I nixed that idea as soon as I thought of doing a layout with one of the strips in mind. I was going to back the photograph in a 4 1/4 or 4.5 by 6.5 piece of white cardstock paper, and instead I came across this Teresa Collins Studio Gold paper pad, and I saw this white pattern paper with the gold foil dots, polka dots instead, and so I decided to back my photograph with that. And from there I used that piece as like my photograph hole, and that just makes sense, WHOLE hole. And I started layering the frame first, that Polaroid frame first, and then I started layering this pattern paper, which had a bunch of flower cutouts. I did a layout of my nieces a while back on one of the other collective videos. I ended up using that pattern paper. And so I just pieced together all of these used pieces of pattern paper to create a frame, and there's still holes in some of it, and some of it I double layered to make the pattern paper look more complete and not more like you could really tell that it's a solid piece of paper, but that it does have holes and that it was previously used. I kind of tend to like that idea because it brings in a little bit more texture, even though it's kind of subtle, because I did put the pattern on the pattern itself. Like, it was the same pattern. I didn't use the contrasting pattern that it had in the back, or like the A and B sides together. I didn't do that. I hope that made sense. So I did cut off one of those strips of the little squares, and I just kind of liked it being there to the left to kind of represent all the colors that I wanted to bring into the layout. It was a great base to start with. or a jumping off point actually, as an idea of like all the colors that I wanted to integrate into the layout. That's the reason why I pulled out so many of the embellishments. And it doesn't hurt that the Pink Fresh Studio collections that I had received, all of their colors kind of were working together. The only one that I really didn't use was this one bright yellow color. It kind of stood out more than the rest of them, and so I was okay with not trying to pull in that color in particular. So I did doily edge punch this blue striped pattern paper once again, and which is okay with me because these two layouts are from two different times, and this won't go into my kids layout. I think the last one I did was a family layout, so it's gonna go somewhere different. And I did add that gold foil to kind of bring it out the element throughout the page. Kind of had it in mind that I would put gold foiled elements throughout the layout so that it would it wouldn't just stand out in one singular place. Sort of like if the gold foil was an afterthought or something to that effect. I did pull out this embellishment pack. It's not from the same, I actually don't know what collection it is because I don't have the things with me anymore, but some were from Pure Joy, other ones were, there was like 2 or 3 different collections, and so I was okay with that. I think you can read what the collections are more or less because your screen is bigger and where I'm recording the screen is a lot smaller. So here I added some embellishments. I did want to use different textures, and I did end up putting some of the embellishments on foam, and that's to give it depth and the texture. And so I really like that. I tried to push myself as far as bringing in all kinds of textures in, different dimensions and different types of embellishments, not just flat stickers. I brought in puffy stickers. I brought in some of those dimensional paper clips, some foiled things, and then also popped some stuff up on foam. And I really feel like I tried to put in all the various colors in the small clusters that I've started. One of the clusters that I tried to repeat was on the top right hand corner with those tabs, and then I ended up finding that square rectangle cardstock sticker which said yes to this, and I just liked it because it was kind of rectangular in shape, but it also had that handwriting like the other 2 tabs. And then I kind of just went crazy on the embellishing. I think this was just fun to make and fun to layer all the different stickers and try to create different layers. That was really fun. I really like the font of these puffy letter stickers. They're a bit tough to manage, like they will be easily manipulated in the wrong way if you aren't careful with how the letters are put down. The stickiness on the back, I don't know if it's because they're older collections, but the glue is like, it tends to get very sticky in that messy type of way. I don't know if I make sense with this, but I hope these don't come off and that they don't leave this. I've seen with like rubber elements, one layout in particular that I can think of, I made an Easter layout years ago, and it left like an oily type of residue, and it started spreading around the elements that I had glued down. And the glue was the one that it came with on the rubber elements. So I hope that these letters don't do the same. I love the font, but it's hard for me to use multicolor titles, except for in this instance, because of the fact that I did bring in a lot of colors to begin with. I didn't feel like these letters stood out in the wrong way, and I felt like they went really well. I just tried to make sure that I didn't repeat the color or any variant of that color next to each other so that they could kind of, well, first of all, they could be legible, and second of all, the only color that I didn't use was that soft pinkish color of the letters, because then it would kind of fade into the purple background of the pattern paper. So I was finding a place, I was auditioning a place for this arrow that says just being us is fun. And I really didn't take things too literal or too serious with this layout. It is a fun layout to do, and we were all having fun. It was a fun time together, and we were trying to, it was just about hanging out with each other or just enjoying our company. And so the mood was light. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I really wanted to get one of these paper clips on here, if not more. I managed to get one in there. I really like these paperclip embellishments, except when it comes time to use them, I find it really hard to put them on the layout. But I managed to do that, and I even overlaid one of the cardstock elements that says hey, and it's not a word bubble, thank goodness, but it is an oval shaped element in gold foil. And I did stick another one of those, what do you call those things? I cannot remember, those little fan things. I just blanked on what it's supposed to be. But I did manage to put two of those elements, and I figured that I already had the cardstock one on there. The paperclip one was not so hard to incorporate once I had the first one on there. So I was really glad that I was able to do that. Don't forget to check out all the other collective ladies that are participating. I believe Kathy and Shannon started the collective, and Dollie is also participating in the collective. So make sure to head on out to their channels and leave them some love. If you have any questions or comments about the layout, just leave them down below. I love to hear from you all. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and give this video a thumbs up. The only other thing that I did besides adding enamel dots and the puffy stickers around the title was that I did trace the edge of the punched out lace doily paper with a Sakura 10-point pen, white gel pen. And a little tip that I have is that if you are outlining something, I generally tend to make a mess out of the edge and get it on the other pen and paper inadvertently. And so what I do is I try to tuck in a piece of scratch paper on it, or I do it beforehand before I set it on the layout. Anyway, that's the end of my video, I hope. I will go ahead and stop the voiceover here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.